Yeah. Well, first off, just grateful to be a part of something like tonight. You got two great teams playing in front of an incredible atmosphere, and it's, I just had somebody say it's one of the best college games I've ever seen. I had somebody else say it's a top 5 game they've ever seen in Gill Coliseum. I mean, that's saying something. And that was somebody had seen a few games. That's how it felt. It felt like just a heavyweight fight between two very talented teams playing incredible basketball. And got to give Oregon all the credit in the world for being resilient tonight. I thought we came out, executed extremely well on both ends, had that early lead, and they just kept coming, and you knew they would all the way to the end, and no surprise. Sabrina hits a 3. You give her an inch, and she takes it. And then we get to overtime, and we're sitting there before overtime started, feeling down. I mean, it's a bummer. They get momentum. We're going to overtime, and we just had to look at each other and just say, hey, it's a new game. It's a 5-minute game at 0-0, and I really loved the composure and the courage that this team went into overtime with when they had a chance and the opportunity to feel sorry for themselves. And so it was an epic game. I'm proud of not just these two who had incredible performances tonight, but everybody on our team for the way they prepared all week for round 1 of a 2-game weekend.
Scott, regardless of the outcome, the thing that stuck out to me was that everyone's been talking about Oregon all season, preseason. They're so good. This is going to be their year to win the Pac-12. And your kids came out and played like, you're going to have to take this from us. Did that surprise you with this young team? You've talked about how much this team is having to learn, that they would come out and play with that kind of grit right away?
Well, that's a great question, Lindsay. There's obviously a lot of hype for a reason. I mean, they're very good, and they've played a tough schedule to get to this point. I was curious how we would handle the stage tonight. I was considering all those factors, and I think Taya set the tone by hitting that first 3. The youngest player on the floor, one of them anyway, comes out and hits that first 3, and it was like, here we go, and then Kat does her thing. And so I think they focused so much this week. They worked so hard in our defensive game plan in particular that gave our team a lot of confidence going into this game. We felt like, okay, we can make them work, and we did a nice job keeping them out of transition, and I think that allowed us to be comfortable and confident early. The things that we worked on were happening, and so I think they felt that, but I was pleased, and I can't say surprised. They're warriors, but I was pleased with the way we approached it mentally, and I was really proud of Marie, of Katie, in those two in particular who've played the most minutes on our team, of their leadership. They set the tone at a high level.
Kat, when you woke up this morning, did you kind of feel like you were going to be in the zone? Did it come when you were at shoot-around? Was it after you made your first 3? When did you realize I'm in this kind of a zone?
It was pure focus. I was focused this whole week, just uber focus, and woke up this morning knowing that we had a late game, so you have to kind of get yourself ready for that, mentally prepared, so it was just focus.
Marie, you've been in some big games in your time here. How big is this one? How good does this feel, the way you guys were able to kind of come out against a team that's at the top of the standings, and where you guys have been and how much you guys have been growing this year?
I would rank this game definitely in the top 3. It was just amazing. I mean, Beaver Nation, it was so loud at one point. I couldn't even hear my own voice anymore. And then it was just crazy to play in front of a crowd like this. And then our team, I feel like we looked at each other and we were just together, it was just like glue, and we were like, we're gonna win this no matter what, and nobody let down. And I'm just super proud of everyone, and it was just super fun.
So what's 1 and 2?
Yeah, what are the other 2 games?
What are the other 2 games?
Oh, Stanford last year, definitely.
Down there?
No. Well,
here.
The sellout.
Yeah, the
Or
sellout.
put back to win Pac-12.
Yeah, that was huge. And then definitely, Stanford down there when we were twice in overtime, that was huge too. Yeah.
What about Baylor?
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so many games. Baylor, huge too.
But you guys had battled and you had the lead so much, they came back, you guys were there, and you think you have it. Sabrina hits that shot, and you guys are still battling in the overtime, and Katie comes up and just kind of sidesteps and gets a shot. When that went through, just how good did that feel, and how much relief maybe was lifted for both you guys?
That was the best basketball moment I've ever been in, to be honest. I don't think I've been more excited in my life. I was shaking after that. It was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't really realize that she got fouled too. So she made it, and I was like, yes, she made it. And then the foul call, and I was like, oh my God. Obviously, it was still, how many seconds were left? Like 11?
11.6,
Yeah.
I think.
11.6. So we were like super excited, but at that moment I was like, okay, we're still in the game. There's still time to go. And Sabrina, credit to her, she hit that 3 and she tied the game and we went in overtime. So there's no time to relax or to be too excited. There's always a chance to lose. So you always have to be focused. Yeah.
Scott, in the second half when they went zone, it threw you guys off some, and there were some bad shots, some turnovers, and your kids never really folded mentally. How were you trying to just make sure that you kept teaching them in that time and not lose your mind?
Yeah. Well, we had some interesting matchups. I mean, we went the big lineup, and we had Katie at the 1 a lot tonight, which was the first time this year that she had played the 1 so much. And so there were just some things that were slightly off. And so through some of those changes, I thought it was a good move on their part to switch things up on us and take advantage of some of those things where we are a little bit inexperienced, getting more experience every minute. But I understand it. So my job is just to help them through it. And so stay calm, Coach Jonas made a great suggestion in a play call that we adjusted things, and I thought that was key, to our success versus theirs on the remainder of the game. And so it was just find a way, but let's get stops. Let's get stops, so we can play through some of this stuff that's kind of normal, I guess. So certainly we'll need to be better on Sunday.
Was the mix 3 that she hit in the corner on the out-of-bounds play, that's not what you drew up in the
No.
timeout, right?
No.
She was just open.
I'm so proud of her. That was such a huge, that was how big a shot was that? And that was her just popping free, and a kind of a regular out of bounds play, but it had nothing to do with what we drew up. And it was a great shot. It was a 2-for-1 time on the clock, 40 some seconds, in the game. And it was massive. And so proud of her for being courageous and knocking it down.
What point today did you kind of become aware that Lexi wasn't going to play, and how did that all kind of shift maybe your thoughts initially with the game plan, how you kind of attacked Oregon?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was sad about that. Lexi's Oregonian. Civil War is what we all grow up watching and wanting to be a part of, and then being a part of it. And I don't like to see anybody hurt ever. And so I heard about it when I was writing stuff up on the board before the game. One of our coaches came down and said, "Lexi's in a boot." And so I didn't believe it. I said, I even told the team, don't believe it. We'll see. I bet she's going to be out there. I know how huge of heart she has. And so we knew they'd go big because of that, probably a little bit more. We thought that was the case. I thought we might see Ayuso a little bit more. I think she's been playing well from what I've watched. And so, so I don't know if it changed a whole lot. They still had very capable people on the floor, in those positions. And I know that injuries don't necessarily mean anything. People rise. And so that's what I assumed would happen for them. People would rise, and they did.
Coach, if you would talk a little bit about your decision-making process to have 4 of your 5 starters play 40 or more minutes tonight. Yeah,
I just felt like we didn't go deep, and it was the type of game, and they didn't go either. Neither team really did, and it was that type of game. It was just that you blink, and you give up momentum, and so that was just kind of how it played out. I didn't go into the game with a plan necessarily that way. It just kind of felt right, and you want to kind of counterpunch when you see what they're doing, and it just seemed like the right thing to do for our team in this game. Who knows on Sunday?
Obviously, you guys want to enjoy this moment, but how long do you kind of enjoy this moment before you kind of realize you have to play this team again in just a couple days?
I high-fived Jonah as soon as the buzzer went off, and then I'm thinking about it as I'm shaking hands. And that's to be honest, it's the terrible thing about the way this conference does this. I hate it. I hate playing the same weekend because you can't even enjoy it. You just got a rivalry win, which hopefully everybody can enjoy, but I'm thinking about 38 hours from now, I'm writing up on another whiteboard, on doing my pregame talk. And we're playing again. And so it's the way it is, and we've done it for years now, and so you kind of get accustomed to it, but there's no enjoyment tonight, really. I mean, my mind's already to the next game, and so it's a little bit unfortunate for a rivalry game.
Kat, didn't you and Sabrina play on the same club team?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously Sabrina, is a great player, gets a lot of attention, but I wondered, Marie and Scott, could you both speak about Kat's performance tonight, and particularly, after she missed that free throw at the end of regulation, I think in the past she would have been beating herself up a lot, maybe let it make us, another mistake, and she didn't do that tonight.
No, she didn't, and that's just I mean, she cares so much. She plays with every ounce of her heart, and I can relate to that. I'm somebody that did the exact same thing, and I didn't ever want to make a mistake. So I look at her, and I see that ball, any shot she misses, whether it's in a practice, a shoot around, whether she's in the gym by herself shooting, it's hard, it hurts. She feels like she should make every shot, but obviously nobody can. And so I think she's really growing, and I'm so proud of her for handling adversity in a much better way. And it's so cool for all of us to watch her. She actually is giving us a ton of confidence in watching her grow, and she's inspirational because she's adjusting, and fighting for us because she knows, hey, I can't dwell on it. It's the next play for my team. And that's how she handled it tonight, and I knew it killed her to miss that stupid free throw, but who cares? On to the next. We can't worry about that. Let's make the next great play, and that's what she did all night.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm super proud of her. I'm actually really inspired by her toughness and the way she handles things. She can be so hard on herself, and I'm always like, Kat, everything's fine. You're fine. You're having 34 points. Everything's fine. Just get a stop. And she did really good today. I'm really proud the way she handled it. And I saw her run back, and she's like, I should have made it. And I was like, you're fine. Be positive. We got this. And she just switched on to defense mode, and it was there. So I'm super proud that she made that.
Yeah, throughout the whole game, Marie was not going to let me do that either. She always looked at me, together, Kat, together. So she was not going to let me be in a mood.
Scott, I know you were asked about making that switch and game planning immediately and going to the next game. Nothing new in 2 games, 3 days, but it being a rival, are those games, do they tend to be a little more emotional? Do you have to look to your veterans and say, you guys have to set the tone? What does that flip like for your team?
What's that? I mean, in regards to it being a rivalry game?
Yeah,
or
if there's
the
anything different than maybe a normal second game in 3 days.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, it's fun for all of us to kind of play the chess match and say, okay, what could they adjust? What should we adjust? Let's look at the film and let's get a little bit better because we'll need to be, next game. And so this team is, I just love the fact that this team's really finding themselves. That's what's happened over the last 3 weeks. We all know what happened in LA. That was miserable. We all know what happened last week. We came back. We responded well. We played through the doubt that creeps in, and we closed out a really good team last Friday night against ASU. Then we hit a rhythm and had a lot of fun on Sunday. And then we grinded all week this week and said, okay, how are we going to beat this team that has been playing the best basketball of anybody in our conference to this point? And they did that, and they embraced that, and that absolutely speaks to the leadership on our team and the resilience of everyone, and our staff. I'm proud of our staff. They've done a phenomenal job supporting them and helping them grow up fast, and I heard Devin Hunter was here tonight, former Beav, from a couple years ago, and I mentioned to her grandpa tonight that, this team has such huge shoes to fill. And they've felt the weight of that. It's been clear. It's like if you play at Oregon State, you have to win. You have to win. You can't ever lose, and that's a hard thing to manage every day, and this team has really done a great job just staying focused, getting a little bit better. We all of us are having a little bit of patience while we're growing, and then stuff like tonight's possible, and they're just scratching the surface still, in my opinion, of what we can be. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Go Beefs!